Good evening, everyone. We are live tonight at the Beacon of Light podcast. Tonight we have Miss Tammy Arlene, which is her writing name, also known as Tammy Pederson. So this is an exciting time for us tonight. She is just announcing a brand new Bible study guide. There it is. You can see it right there. From your pain to your purpose. So before we jump into any more, we're going to throw this little, what do we call it? The little trailer on, and then we're going to go from here. Again, if I can always push the right button. Ta-da!
I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now.
Here we are. We have started now. So, Miss Tammy, I am broadcasting from Twin Falls, Idaho. And where are you broadcasting from?
Right now, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, at a hotel because I had to bring my dog to Phoenix for radiation treatment. She's recovering from cancer.
Wow. It's a little bit intense there. So pray for the pooch. Oh, we want to make sure that our little furry friends and family stay with us a long time. So I'm happy to hear that you're here. And this is really an exciting time. So Miss Tammy, if you guys missed the little beginning right there, she is announcing a brand new book, and she is an amazing author. She is an award nominee author. She has done so many great, incredible things. So hold this new book up there, Miss Tammy, and let's see what it is. From your pain to your purpose. So share with us a little bit about the title and how this whole thing came about.
Well, I wanted to write this book for about 6 years now, and it's more of a Bible study on my transition from being in pain to finding my purpose. And it took so long because I needed to grow in myself. And through faith, I was able to do that. In writing my first book, Coming Home, I initially intended on creating a companion study for it, and this evolved into something completely different. I realized that in my life, I was completing cycles and patterns of abuse and being a victim, and I wanted to overcome that. So what I did was I started seeking out scripture, time with the Lord, and wise counsel, and I was able to veer off of my circular path. It's kind of like a steering wheel. When you turn a steering wheel in one direction, you end up going in a circle. I was able to straighten my steering wheel and look towards God and find my purpose, which is empowering women, encouraging women, and helping them find their purpose so they can get out of the cycle of abuse.
Wow, incredible. And what a key point a month to be able to make this announcement, to be really able to share, and taking that pain that you have understood, grown through with faith, with a relationship with God, listening to his word, understanding, that's my purpose. This is what I need to do to help other people. And so with this study guide, you guys will be able to really understand what that journey is like and how we all need to face something. It will come, right?
Yes.
You might be suffering through it right now. I love what John says. He's like, yay, Debbie. And thank you, John, for being here, for being so supportive. And again, she just has launched this book. You can find it on Amazon under Tammy Arlene, right?
Yes.
Your pain to your purpose. I cited backwards. My fault. My bad. So really, really exciting time. So you say this is 12-week kind of a study. So how did you come about with that and that time frame? Was it inspired? Share with us a little bit about that.
It was inspired, and actually there are 5 sections in the book, and I follow the analogy of a seed being planted and then growing into full bloom. The first part of the book is the part one is predestined, and I go into how we're predestined, like a seed's predestined to become a certain type of plant. And also we have a predestined purpose. It's in us. We might not know what it is. Just like when you look at a seed, it's hard to tell what kind of plant that's going to be. It has to be planted, which is part two, being planted well. And in order to be planted well in our lives, we need prayer, scripture, and wise counsel. So we do need to be intentional with our time, just like you have to be intentional when you're planting a seed, and take good care of that seed so it can sprout and grow. Part three is prepared, and you do have to continue to prepare the soil even when you don't see anything growing. So that section has preparing your heart, cultivating, maintaining healthy habits. So you need to fertilize your good growth, and you need to nurture your unique gifts and talents. And part four is the hard part. And that's where you prune. So you need to trim away your old patterns that hinder your growth. Those are personal patterns like negative self-talk. And the next chapter, I talk about trimming away unhealthy relationships, because when we're around people who are doing things that we don't want to do anymore, we tend to keep repeating our cycle. So we need to trim away those unhealthy relationships. And then we talk about trimming away unhealthy habits, addictions. Unhealthy habits could be even something as simple as too much time on social media. And part five is about reflecting and repeating, because in order to have a garden that truly blossoms and grows, we need to continue to cultivate. We need to continue to fertilize. We need to continue to prune, always pruning, always cutting off the bad branches that aren't healthy for us. And I do follow a lot of biblical parables in this study, because that's what helps me kind of understand my stories and understand the walk that Jesus had in his ministry too.
Wonderful. In that walk that you have found with God through Jesus, what was something that you discovered that was like eye-opening? You're like, whoa, hang on a minute. What
Yeah.
happened there?
Well, I discovered I have unhealthy habits. Now, a little bit about me is I was molested as a young girl and raped at 16, and experienced military trauma, sexual trauma as a young adult. And I kept up those patterns of being a victim. I was always focused on poor me, basically. And that's a very unhealthy habit, but very natural. And I've been married 5 times. 4 of those were involved domestic violence in one way or another. And I just kept repeating that cycle. Yeah, I would leave a relationship, but I never turned my steering wheel straight towards my purpose. I always just got out and created a bigger circle for myself. This study helped me discover that I needed to direct my focus on the positive in life. And by doing that, I was able to look towards my purpose. That didn't come easy either. I have to admit, I had a serious medical issue that happened where I nearly died. I had a Whipple surgery, and I was at a low point in my physical health, and that brought me closer to God and helped me discover what my purpose really was.
Isn't that interesting how in these really traumatic moments, I've just been studying some scripture that talks about how sometimes the prophets, when they're jailed, when they're imprisoned, when a lot of things can happen, it is hard. The suffering that occurs, the trauma, your Whipple surgery, what an unexpected, and now the result of that, you've got to live with a different way and lifestyle. But what's also interesting is the connection that happens when we sometimes are at our lowest.
Mm-hmm.
Those are those places where maybe, I don't know if God on purpose puts us there or the opportunity allows for him to, I'm not going to second guess how God needs to teach us. But I do find it really interesting that when we are in those low times and when we reach out to God, God's hand is right there. How we understand it, how we follow through, and the actions that we take from there are very individual, right? It's very individualized. And I remember reading a story about a friend who prayed for 6 years for an answer and felt that the heavens were sealed and just nothing would come except for a small encouragement to keep asking. And that was it. But through that 6 years, discovered the relationship actually building, where this individual said that he could have been really frustrated and said, see, they're not, he doesn't care, he doesn't listen, it doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, really, really interesting, hard time. So it's great that you took all that pain and really changed it into purpose. So what do you hope to do with the women who you interact with, and who, for this particular book, what do you want or hope for them to accomplish with it?
Well, this book, I actually intend to donate quite a few copies to women's shelters, whether it be domestic violence shelters or recovery centers, to help the women go through the steps to find their own purpose in life. Hoping to donate 10 copies to at least 5 shelters. So if anyone out there has a shelter in mind, reach out to me because I will send those to the shelter for you. And I just want to reach as many lives as I can so that women know that they can overcome trauma by focusing on their future and the positive things in life. If we direct our focus on the positive things in life, we can stop the cycles that have kept us down and depressed and sad and in bad habits. I just want to encourage women, and I'm known for quoting scripture. And Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight." We need to look toward the positive and know that the Lord will direct your path straight, which will be the way out of the cycle of negativity, perhaps, or addiction, or feeling like a victim, a perpetual victim. If we look upward and straight, God will do that for us, regardless of our situation.
That is so true. It's so true. The situation, the pain, the trauma, the abuse, it almost, it doesn't matter the qualifier. What matters is our reach to God and how then he will use what we have. I loved how you said the skills and talents that you've been blessed with. What then can move ahead and move forward? So, Tammy, how do you leave victimhood? It's a comfortable place, so how do you leave it? What do you do?
A tiny step, even one tiny step toward the positive. It could be as simple as, I know you recently had a guest on your podcast, Sherry Phillips, talking about having that job or that career focus. Take the focus off of feeling like your situation can't be changed and find that one thing that's positive and focus on that. And you'll slowly veer out of that cycle. If it's a job and financial stability that will help you do that, focus on that.
Agreed.
And you'll notice one step at a time, just one step.
Yeah, that's so true. Sometimes we miss the mark because we're like, that's too simple. No, give me something hard to really focus in on. No, really, like a 1 degree difference in positivity,
Yes.
and look what can happen over time, right? I love to listen to a lot of positive, inspirational speakers, and one that I listen to, um, President Uchtdorf, he talks about the times where he would fly planes. He flew for military, and then he flew for Lufthansa, big Germany, a German airline. And he noticed that there was always just one small part of correction that would have to happen in order for them to stay on course. 1 degree, maybe even 2 degrees. That's it, just 1 or 2. And you just maintain your course. If, however, you stay off that course by 1 degree, in the end, wow, it can really be off over that time and distance. So the simplicity of it, as we look, like you said, you just take one step towards the positive every single day. The changes over time really happen. That can be a struggle in our instant society, right? We want things instant. We want things fast. Yeah, I did something positive today, nothing happened. Okay, this is not working. You have to extend it over time. And I think your explanation about a 6-year journey in writing this book is something very, very powerful to really understand. So that is awesome, and that's an incredible, incredible thing. So Tammy, with from your pain to your purpose, and this 12-week study, what do you hope that your audience, well, let me ask this differently. Who is the focus of your audience for this particular book?
The focus is anyone who's wanting to find their purpose and might feel like they have not been given a purpose by God. I felt like that for a very long time. I want to help them realize that we all have a purpose. We're all predestined. We are all uniquely predestined, and not, even though our overall purpose is the same for everyone, the journey looks a little different. Even if I just encourage one person with this, I feel like I have reached my purpose with this book.
Amazing. What a sacrifice to know that just through, if only one changes, that will really be the power and the understanding that you followed through on what God would have you, on what God wanted you to do. So that really is incredible. So Tammy, share with us a little bit. I see that you have some other books, and maybe share part of where those journeys are leading you to and what you hope to have come up next.
Okay, well, my first book came out in November of 2018, and it's book 1 of a trilogy. It's called Coming Home, and I wrote it as inspirational fiction focused on overcoming a cycle of domestic violence. And it does feature a woman who is overcoming her cycle of domestic violence, and she inherits an old bed and breakfast, and in the process of refurbishing it, she discovers her purpose in life. I am halfway through writing book 2, which another character in this book tells her story, and she works in Las Vegas as an exotic dancer, and she's overcoming a cycle of sexual trauma, and we're going through her story right now. That's pretty exciting. And then I really hope to have that book out by March or April of 2022. By the end of next year, book 3 of the trilogy should be out, and it's featuring another one of the ladies from this story who is overcoming self-image issues, eating disorder, different self-image issues due to some trauma that she faced. So overall, I want to use fiction to help encourage my readers to overcome their own trauma.
Wow, incredible. The whole concept with fiction is really a safe place. Sometimes we discredit it, like, where's the real story? No. The connection with fiction is incredible. It's a safe place to examine. Sometimes you'll realize, whoa, that character, I have parts of that character within me. And then you start to self-reflect, and change can really happen because it's a comparison, it's an examination, but it's very safe. Because maybe with other real people, we compare ourselves. You might think, well, they got all that, I'll never. And so we kind of stop or quit. But with fiction, you can say, hey, I can pull all these pieces and now look what I can do. So I think it's really empowering. I love to encourage people to use the fiction and the characters they find in there, how to glean from that and really move ahead and move forward. So it's
Yes.
incredible. And really, story, Christ used story all the time to be that teaching moment, to really help us embrace what it is that we needed to learn. So I think stories are incredible, and it's such a powerful way to do all these things. So Tammy, with our time kind of coming to an end, what would you really like to share about moving your pain to your purpose? What is something that the audience needs to know that we might not have shared thus far?
Just want to give hope and encouragement to anyone out there that might be watching, that they too have a purpose. It might not happen instantly, like you mentioned, but they do have a purpose, and it will happen, even if it's one small step at a time. And there will be obstacles that come up, but if you focus on that purpose, you can overcome those obstacles. And something else I wanted to add about my writing fiction. The primary reason that I chose fiction to write my books about domestic violence and sexual trauma is that this is a safe thing for a woman who might be experiencing trauma to have on their nightstand and read. They can read this and be encouraged, and it might help them make that step forward to in that relationship, make that step forward to focus on something positive so they can change their situation. A little bit different than a nonfiction book would. But my whole mission, my purpose is to help women overcome trauma by empowering them to focus on something positive every day.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. What an incredible way to show the safety for those women as they read through the book. You're right. It's just a fictional novel that has a way and a plan for somebody else to interpret, accept, and possibly change and save their life. Beautifully done, Tammy. Beautifully done. Well, thank you everyone for being a part of the Beacon of Light show. Thank you, John. Thank you, all those supporters out there. Go and catch the replay tonight and through the next few days. Congratulations, Tammy, on all of this, taking from your pain to your purpose and really getting it out there for the women who need this hope, support in their life. Thank you, Tammy. We'll see everybody.
Thank you.